Can I beat Pokemon without the letter T? That might sound weird or not make any sense at all, but let me explain. Basically, anything with the letter T is just banned. That means any Pokemon, item, ability, heck, even things like TMs and Pokemarts are banned since they have the letter T in it. While you might be thinking, wow, he's finally done it, he's ran out of ideas, right? You might be correct, but this run required me to think outside of the box in more ways than one, because who knew that banning the second most common consonant in the English language would result in a lot of things being banned? I thought about even writing this script without using the letter T, but you try writing more than just a couple of words without the letter T. It's pretty difficult, like every other word I can think of has the letter T in it. So starting off, I name our rival T, of course, since that letter is our deepest adversary. I do not get the potion out of the PC because, well, you know, potions have T in it. And then head to pick our starter Pokemon. Squirtle is double banned, we'll make that triple banned because it has two T's in the name, a T in the ability Torrent, and a T in the typing being a water type. We're going to try to avoid the letter T as much as possible, and while I first thought about picking Bulbasaur since it has no T's in it, I also thought that we'd have a harder time getting fire type Pokemon, so I picked Charmander instead, and let me tell you what, this was the first of many mistakes I made by not picking Bulbasaur. Since all of the starter Pokemon have either Scratch or Tackle as their only offensive moves, I just have to spam Growl until T-Squirtle takes us out. I also thought it would be fitting that the rival had Squirtle because all of the T's that are associated with Squirtle. Next we go to the Mart for the parcel, and this is the only time we'll set foot in a Pokemart since it has T in it, so we can't even buy anything here, so there's no point of going in. This also means we of course can't buy Pokeballs, but since Great Balls and Ultra Balls are banned, we're gonna have to use these 5 Pokeballs we got as a gift from the Professor's aid as sparingly as possible. Route 1 left a lot to be desired since Pidgey is weak to Brock and we can't even evolve it due to the fact that Pidgeotto has the audacity to have 2 T's right next to each other in its name, then Rattata has like 14 T's in it, so we defer to Route 22 where I intended to get a Mankey. Then I realized it was a fighting type Pokemon which has T in it, so that's banned, and at this point I thought the run was over because I didn't think there was anything else we could catch. Perhaps I should have done a bit more planning and research when I started this video, but people who plan and do research aren't YouTubers like I am, so instead I adapted the situation by just looking up the encounter table on this area on Bulbapedia and find out that we can catch a Spearow, which we get and name the Chosen One. It has Peck, so finally we have an offensive move we can actually use. Wasting a Pokeball on it was unfortunate, but at least it was just one. I name it Chosen One, naturally, and now the games begin. I switch train Charmander a little bit until it learns Ember, an offensive move we can actually learn. And I know that some commenter out there is already typing saying, switching isn't allowed because it has a T in it. You could probably find a T in just about anything you do in a Pokemon game and just say that isn't allowed, so I'll try to just limit it to actual game pieces like Pokemon, abilities, TMs, stuff like that. The Viridian Forest offers a few encounters like Weedle, but alongside its evolution, it gets pretty much no offensive moves we can use. This means that for Brock, we're going to have to use a Fire type and a Flying type, making this already the second time I regret not picking Bulbasaur. It's literally my favorite Kanto starter Pokemon. I have this mini shrine for it behind me on my shelves, and I still don't know why I just didn't pick Bulbasaur. When we leave the forest though, I thought Nidoran on Route 2 would be a solid addition to the team, but nope, it has the Poison Point ability as its only ability at this point in the game. We also ran into another issue, and I find sort of a loophole. Pokemon Centers are banned because they have a T in it, meaning we can't heal traditionally, but if we use the PC to place our Pokemon in the box, then take them out, they'll be healed. Honestly, I have no idea if that's genius or breaking my own self-imposed rules or not, but the alternative is just letting my Pokemon faint over and over again when they get low HP. And since I can't even use a Mart, like, ever, losing money really isn't a problem for us. Now for Brock, we tested out our team a bit against the junior trainer and got a lucky burn off Ember, so let's just see how this goes. You know, let's just go in there. Our Charmander's level 14, we just spam Ember. Maybe we'll get some burns like we did against the junior trainer here. I have no idea. Maybe Brock will also be dumb and just not go for rock type moves, go for defense curls a lot. We'll see. It's only 2 Pokemon, and the first one's only level 12. We can do this, Charmander. That's not the worst damage. Defense curl, good. There we go, critical hit, tackle, no potion. Down goes the Geodude. Okay, good start. Only 6 HP taken off of our Charmander. And now here's the Onix. Let's go for Ember. We're faster. Good. Not a lot of damage there. And there's the Rock Tomb. Yeah, this is going to be a doozy. Can't Metal Claw, of course, starts with a T, or has a T in it. Down goes Charmander. Chosen One, you're only level 12, and you're a flying type. What if I actually switch to Chosen One and go for Growls next time? That might be the play. Alright, Brock, take number 2. Hopefully we get through the Geodude as easy as we did on the first attempt. Switch to Spearow, go for Growl, hopefully take some Rock Tombs better, and I don't know, get a burn or something, critical hit. Get the level up this time. A bit less HP than before though. Now we go to the Spearow. I would like to get 2 Growls off if possible. That would be pretty big. Goes for Bind. I think now we'll die to a Rock move though. Well, maybe not though, because it's -2. Goes for Bind again like an idiot. Oh, come on, Spearow. There we go, 6 Growls, -6 attack. Better than I thought it would be. And now we just get minuscule damage off with Pex. Okay, down goes Spearow. We did like barely any damage, but that might end up mattering. Let's go for Ember. Give me a burn too, that'd be so huge. Lands the Rock Tomb, 26 HP. Okay, that only does 6. So we can take 3 more. Okay, under half. Still no burn. Tackle only does 2. I think 2 or 3 more burns and we got it. Next one should do it. Next one should do it. Do not Rock Tomb. Do not Rock Tomb. Do not Rock Tomb here. Okay, no Rock Tomb. No Rock Tomb. Come on. We did it. The Growl strategies worked. Who needs the letter T? In hindsight, getting Bulbasaur would have been way easier. Also, really good for the second gym too. But I picked Charmander because I don't know why, chat. I just did. While I did kind of wish we had Bulbasaur for that fight, we at least got out of it in our second attempt, which isn't bad given the circumstances of banning an entire letter. Like, they even gave Charmander Metal Claw in Fire Red and Leaf Green to make Brock a bit easier if you pick Charmander, of course, but we can't use Metal Claw, or any Steel type move for that matter, since the entire Steel typing happens to be banned alongside with Water and Fighting. As we travel towards Mount Moon, Charmander evolves and thankfully doesn't gain any T's in its name. There's no Pokemon we can catch here, but I make the mistake of taking Magikarp thinking it's fair game because it has no T's in it and neither does Gyarados, only to realize it's banned for being a water type. These rules are much more restrictive than I initially thought. As for Mount Moon, we can technically get Paris and just never evolve it, as well as Geodude. Geodude wouldn't be terrible, but I don't want to waste any more Pokeballs on it since it's a pretty common Pokemon to encounter in the Kanto region. And we can get one later on if we really need it, but we're about to find a different ground-type Pokemon we can use anyway. Now that we're in Cerulean City, we have a new patch of grass to get an encounter. Sandshrew does not have a T in it, neither does Sandslash, neither does its ability Sandveil, and it gets Slash at level 23. And also Dig, well no, Dig's a Dig from the TM, so we can't teach it Dig. Look, it's a Pokemon we can catch finally. I'm catching it. It's only level 6 though, so I don't really want to risk weakening it. But then again, this isn't a Nuzlocke, so if I kill, I could just re-encounter another one. Or I could just get it in the first ball. Getting a Sandshrew in just one Pocket Monster Ball is great, as having it also means that we don't need to rely on Geodude for Lieutenant Surge. Then while prepping for the next rival fight, Chosen One evolves into Fearow and promptly lays waste to our rival's team in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. I never quite knew the power of Fearow before this, and it's certainly living up to the name, Chosen One. Then we have to go across the Nugget Bridge, where I realize I made another oopsie that, again, makes me regret not picking Bulbasaur. Since we're on Leaf Green version, the Grass-type exclusive we get in this game on this route is Bellsprout, which is so close to being usable, but it just has to have a T as the very last letter in its name. In Fire Red, that exclusive is Oddish, which of course has no T's in its name, but a minor mistake like this certainly has never screwed me over in the past, right? Chosen One continues to live up to its name by being the best Pokemon in this run, leading us to Bill and eventually Misty's Water-type gym. This would be way easier with a Grass type like Bulbasaur, but let's see how Chosen One fares here. I guess also Sandslash with Slash isn't the worst so long as we can take a Water move. There's the Staryu, level 18. We are a little bit over level 2 because there was a lot more trainers to fight than I thought up north, but it's fine. Peck does a lot of damage, goes for Harden. She's probably going to Potion here, but Peck should still be a 2-shot after the Potion because of how much the first one did. There we go, over half. We're faster, over half again, and you're dead. Perfect. On to the Starmie with max HP. You know, Staryu and Starmie don't have T in their names. So I could also use them, I think, unless they have an ability with T. I don't know. We're faster. Peck does, like, okay damage. Water Pulse, do not confuse me. I shouldn't have said anything. What? Water Pulse always confuses me, dude. Always. Like, look, I understand it's a common theme for Nuzlockers to complain about the RNG. That's not exactly what I'm complaining about. I'm just complaining specifically about Water Pulse and how it always confuses me. But we snap out. Alright, so it's below half health. Chosen One has fainted. Sandslash, it's all up to you, buddy. Well, not really. I guess I still have Vermilion. But if you could take a hit and knock out with Slash, that'll be amazing. Goes for Water Pulse. I think we can take one, right? Okay, we take one. No confusion. There's the Slash. Okay, she doesn't have a second potion, I don't think. Sandslash is gonna fall. We have Vermilion. We have to go for Ember, though. I don't think we have any other move here. Have to go for Ember. It's faster. Vermilion, please. 5 HP. The confusion. We connect. Oh, by the skin of our teeth, we make it through. We narrowly escape victory against Misty. That's extra sweet because she has a T in her name and also uses water types, which are just banned entirely. We heal up at the PC and I spend more time on Route 5 searching for a Meowth. You might be thinking, wait a minute, Meowth has a T in it, and you're right. So as soon as I realize that Meowth has a T in it, I continue through Route 6 into Vermilion City. Here we can get one of my favorite items, the fishing rod, and I think you know what Pokemon I have in mind to get with it. Okay, editor's note, I cannot get Seeking. It's a water type. I keep forgetting all water types are banned. I don't know how I keep messing that up, but not being able to get Seeking, absolutely tragic. Another positive about Vermilion City is on the route right next to it, we can get a Drowsy that I of course catch and name Mikey, leaving us with just a single Pokeball left. At this point, I really thought that we would only be able to use a total of 4 Pokemon in this entire run, but new Pokemon open up for us pretty soon. Once we clear the SS and challenge our rival and save the man who runs the ship, we begin preparing for the following gym leader. That last sentence had no T's in it, which was awkward to write and probably sounded even more awkward. And although we have a ground-type Pokemon in Sandslash, it has no ground-type moves at the moment, and we can't even teach it Dig because Dig is a TM of course and has a letter T in it. After getting double team spammed and paralyzed by this coward of a gym leader known as Lieutenant Surge, we go in for a second attempt. This time we still get paralyzed a ton by his static abilities, but our new Drowsy shows how useful it is since at this point I learned that there aren't many psychic type moves with the letter T in it. If we ban like the letter S or something like that, this would be a much more different story and maybe we can try that in a future video, or possibly be more daring in a future video and try it without like a vowel. But for now we face another inconvenience. In order to get the HM for Flash so I can see in the rock tunnel, we need to have 10 total Pokemon. We currently only have 8 and 1 Pokeball left. I could waste that Pokeball on a Weedle and evolve it to Kakuna to meet the threshold of 10 Pokemon to get Flash, since, you know, I like being able to see when I go through the rock tunnel in the dark, but I decided to just keep my Pokeball and go through the tunnel in the dark and only get lost about 3 or 4 times. At least our Drowsy evolves into this abomination. When I make it to Lavender Town and head right towards Celadon City, I strategize a bit and make this big discovery. I just made a discovery. We can go to the Safari Zone, which does not have a T in it, and use Safari Balls to catch Pokemon. This is great and all, but I somehow keep forgetting that so many Pokemon have either a typing or ability that we can't get with letter T in it, and the amount of times I get my hopes up just to have my dreams completely shattered might just be a metaphor for my life, but at least we can do what any level-headed person does when they're down. Head to the casino to gamble. The only issue with that is slot machines have the letter T in it, so we can't play them, but we can still buy coins and redeem a prize to get this Abra. Psychic types are so good in this run because they rarely ever use the letter T in them, and Kadabra learns Psychic via level up, making it one of the strongest Pokemon we have access to. We could get this Eevee as well, however we can't even use an evolutionary stone on it, can't get Espeon or Umbreon in this game, and the only offensive moves Eevee has are Tackle and Quick Attack, meaning all it'll really do in battle is just go for Growl. I don't think we could make Eevee more useless if we tried. Now for Erika. She has all grass and poison types while we have a flying type, a fire type, a ground type, and 2 psychic types. If there's one thing this challenge of banning the letter T excels at in this game, it's just destroying Erika because we match up so well against her. Our new Kadabra proves its might in the Rocket Game Corner, completely destroying all the pathetic grunts, including Giovanni, who I think might also be trying to do this challenge since none of his Pokemon have the letter T in their name, and neither does his name. Some of his Pokemon did have moves with T in it, but that could be avoided if he really wanted to. I mean, obviously he wouldn't want to because he's just an NPC, but after defeating him we can pick up the T. It is technically an item with the letter T in it that also just sounds like T, but there's no way to progress the story without it, so technically, no, we can't beat Pokemon without the letter T, but we can beat our rival in Lavender Town and unfortunately not catch a Ghastly because he evolves into Haunter and has Levitate, And editor's note number 2 here, Ghastly also has a T in it. I don't know how I missed that too. I'm actually kind of amazed that, as far as I know, and I haven't caught any mistakes yet, I haven't accidentally caught a Pokemon with T in it and used it. Now that I'm saying it, I probably jinxed it, since commenters tend to notice these mistakes more than I would while editing. But that just shows that so many Pokemon are so close to being able to be used in this run. And another small issue we have with this run is getting the Pokeflute, which of course has letter T in it, and we need it to wake up Snorlax and progress the game. We can catch one if we want to, but we only have one single Pokeball left, and the odds of catching a Snorlax with one Pokeball are really low, and we don't get it. Now that we have access to PaPaSea City, we can find the real treasure of this run, the Safari Zone. There's a couple of good options to varying degrees of viability we can get here, and since we use Safari Balls to catch them and not Pokeballs, or Great Balls for that matter, it's fair game. The Pokemon that I'm most looking forward to catching here is Rhyhorn. The only issue with it in this game is that it has 2 abilities in Lightning Rod or Rock Head, so to make sure I get one with Rock Head and not Lightning Rod, I catch 4 Rhyhorns, and the more time I spent here, the more I realized that Rhyhorn was really the only Pokemon that was worth getting here, but we'll take it. I mean, there's Paris here, but it can't evolve. We can't use Chains because of its ability, and same thing for the Nidoran line. And while we could technically use Dragonair, it's a 1% encounter, and I don't really feel like just wasting time to get it. I did still catch a Paris because why not, and this gives us a full team of 6 now and a Paris in the PC if we ever want to use it, but I don't think we should. Unfortunately for Rhyhorn though, its only attacking moves at the moment are Stomp and Fury Attack, so we'll have to wait until it levels up a bit more to get a move that it can actually use. And trust me, it certainly learns a usable offensive move alright. Then while taking care of the Sylph building, Charmeleon evolves into Charizard, Rhyhorn evolves and learns Horn Drill, which is just amazing, and once again I get my hopes up on this gift Lapras since Lapras has no T in it, but of course it's a water type so we can't use it. We can't even use the Master Ball, but with the Sylph building saved, we evolve Rhyhorn into Rydell, which happens to be your mother's favorite activity, and prepare for Koga's Poison type gym. Koga almost fits this challenge too if it wasn't for his Pokemon with the Levitate ability and a couple of moves with T in it. I was going to show live commentary of this battle, then I remembered that I just barely talked during this recording even though I had Facecam on, so I'm just awkwardly sitting in the corner and our Psychic-type Pokemon just hammer away hard enough for the victory in our 5th gym badge. Next we have Sabrina's Psychic-type foes, and although Psychic types are good at avoiding T, she somehow manages to have some of the only Psychic-type moves on her team with T in it like Future Sight and Reflect, which really aren't that great altogether. I just led with Sand Slash and hit her with Hard Slashes, which is great to get through her Kadabra and Mr. Mime. Then on Venomoth, I go to the Chosen One Fearow to finish off with Drill Peck and do the same for her ace Alakazam. Now that we actually have multiple Pokemon with multiple moves, things are getting a bit easier, but we have to break another rule by using Surf, a water type move, to get to Cinnabar Island. I teach it to Rhydon, so we at least don't have to catch a Pokemon with T in it like a water type to get there, and I'll just never use Surf outside of battle, much like I haven't used Cut outside of battle, which I needed for Lieutenant Surge. From here we collect the key to enter Blaine's gym, destroy him since he's a pushover, then have a chat with Bill about going to the Sevi Islands. I didn't go to the Sevi Islands right away with him, but there could be something useful for us to check out over there pretty soon. That just leaves Giovanni as the last gym leader, who is notoriously easy even though he is the final gym leader. This is another point where I wish I had Venusaur over Charizard, since I barely used Charizard in the later half of this game, but Kadabra as well as Hypno are able to hold their own after learning Psychic to get through this whole team without even taking any damage. Funny enough, after fighting 2 easy bosses, I immediately lose the last rival fight, then regain by getting more critical hits on the second attempt, where the only Pokemon that fainted was Fearow. Now for the Victory Road, we have to commit another sin and use Strength to get through it on top of Surf. I really want to use Repels here as well, but I don't have any, and of course we can't buy any at the mart, so instead I have to deal with these wild Pokemon every 5 steps that we can't even catch. When we make it to the Elite Four building, I realize a small loophole. There is a shop here, and it's not technically a mart, but I still ban it from the run since if we're allowed to just buy 50 revives here, it would defeat the whole point of marts being banned in the first place. Instead, I explore the region a bit for any hidden revives or max revives and only find like a total of 3. Then I remember Bill. In Cerulean City, there is a man who sells you items in exchange for berry powder. These items include energy roots, which are basically hyper potions, and more importantly, the revival herb, which is just a revive. Now, in order to get berry powder, we first need berries, and they're really not that easy to come by in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but if you go to the Sevi Islands and go into the berry forest, you can find berries on the ground which regenerate over here. I don't know why there aren't berry trees instead like there are in Ruby and Sapphire, but it doesn't really matter. I thought that having all of these berries would then allow us to make berry powder, and normally it would if we had someone else to link up with to make berry powder with, since you can't make berry powder on your own and have to link up with somebody else to do it. That was about 45 minutes of time wasted to get to this point, so now let's just challenge the Elite Four and try to spare our revives as much as we can. I was able to buy a ton of soda pops though, which is kinda nice, but because of our lack of revives, I did overlevel a bit since we match up poorly against Lorelei. Some T Pokemon would go crazy here, specifically fighting type Pokemon, but the best we have for her is just Kadabra. This took a few attempts and a level 72 Kadabra, but we eventually make it through her. Then for Bruno, he thankfully has a ton of fighting type Pokemon and other Pokemon with low special defense to make this a pretty easy fight, and Agatha wasn't too bad either with her mostly poison type Pokemon. I know she's technically a ghost type trainer, but come on Agatha, who are you trying to fool with this team? Charizard even fainted in there, and I didn't bother to waste a revive on it since we were so low on them, so we keep going on without our Charizard into Lance's room. Kadabra falls early, but we get bailed out by a Rhydon Horn Drill that connects on Aerodactyl, and then again on Dragonair. Hypno ends up saving the day though, as we narrowly get through Lance with just 2 Pokemon alive and 2 revives remaining. With these last 2 revives, we revive Hypno and Kadabra and head into the fight against our true rival, T. We lead with Kadabra on his silly bird, then into Rhydon and his Arcanine to try to land our last Horn Drill, but we miss. I just let Rhydon fall here after spamming Scary Face and then send out Fearow, which was a mistake since it falls very quickly. Kadabra cleans up with Psychic though, just leaving our 2 Psychic-type Pokemons left, but his stupid Blastoise misses the Hydro Pump, allowing us to KO it, and then on his Alakazam I poison it with Poison Gas on Hypno, but also get poisoned from the Synchronize ability. It's a lost cause from here, so instead I just level up the team a bit more to level 75 or so, and get to a point where it's just our Fearow versus his Executor. There we go. Finally! Can you beat Pokemon without the letter T? Yes, you can. It's just really weird and annoying and convoluted, and yeah, I had to be a little overleveled, but who doesn't be overleveled in these weird kind of challenges that aren't Nuzlocke? So cool, I guess. While the answer to a lot of these types of challenges is just keep trying until you win or be overleveled when you're not doing a Nuzlocke type challenge, this run still required me to think outside of the box and play in a very strange way, since a surprising amount of things in Pokemon have the letter T in it. But you know what? I think even more things in Pokemon have the letter S in it.